My name is Dr. Ben Newman. I've worked on coronaviruses for the last 24 years. I read a lot of papers. I'm here to answer your questions. First question today is from Dina. Good morning, Dina. All right. Hi, Dr. Ben. Question is, are there any similarities between COVID-19 and the virus that caused it, SARS-CoV-2, and Spanish flu virus? Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, basic answer is no, they're totally different, but there are some similarities, so we might as well. Yeah. So what's similar about them is that part of the way that they damage the lungs is going to be the same. So we think that both the 1918 flu and COVID-19 heavily involve particular white blood cells called macrophages, and that they cause these to malfunction basically in slightly different ways and because of slightly different signals. But the overall thing is that, yeah, macrophages are going nuts and messing up the inside of your lungs pretty good, in addition to causing a lot of damage throughout the rest of the body, which should have some overlap but is not exactly the same. They're both also big problems that have now affected a lot of people and have really spread far and fast. So, yeah, that's similar. What's different is pretty much everything else. Yeah. So the viruses that cause these are, yeah, just night and day. I guess they're similar in shape in that they're both kind of not quite round, sort of egg-shaped things, except that the flu will sometimes make these beautiful, long, they look like sausage-shaped viruses. And coronavirus doesn't do that, at least in any of the thousands of them that I've ever looked at. um, as far as what's inside, flu viruses are built, they're called what's called negative strand viruses, which just means they have a piece of RNA that you have to read backwards. You have to copy it, and then it makes sense. Coronaviruses have the forward version that just makes sense all by itself. So that doesn't seem like a giant difference to a regular person, I would imagine, but that's splits the two groups of RNA containing viruses in half. And yeah, once you know that that's different, you can predict that pretty much everything else about the way that they work is going to be different. So they have a couple proteins that have similar names or broadly similar functions, but they look different, they work different. So it's no. I think what most people want to know in asking this is, one, can we learn something about the death rate of COVID-19, this thing we're dealing with now, from what's happened in the past? Is the virus going to eventually burn out the way the 1918 flu did? Burned out, and then it came back bigger, and then it burned out, and then it came back a third time, not quite as big, and then it just kind of lingered in the background forever, forever until 2009. And it's still around. There are variants of it in pigs. And yeah, they come back. Little pieces of it come back mixed together with other pieces of other viruses. And these are the flu viruses that we deal with from time to time. But no, there's nothing on that level where you can say that it'll be seasonal. There's nothing where you can say that it'll definitely be self-limiting until we run out of people, until everybody is literally dead or has had it. Yeah. And even then, once they've had it, we think they can probably get it again at some point. Doesn't seem to be long-term immunity, and the flu isn't either. So I guess maybe they have that in common. Yeah. And I guess when people are asking this question, they might also be looking to for some hope. Can we take something hopeful from the 1918 flu? I guess the hopeful thing is that we got through it, but yeah. Boy, tell that to all of the people that died at the time. Yeah. So no, I don't think there's a lot there that you can make. But at the same time, I don't know, if thinking about the 1918 flu gets people to take COVID-19 seriously, then I am on board with at least that, taking the analogy that far. Because I think they are both things that definitely needed to be taken more seriously than they were, and that have both hurt a lot more people than they had to, and both could have been stopped pretty much before anybody got sick, but they didn't really know how, and they were dealing with World War I. in 1918, and now we know how and do in some places and don't in others, which is very frustrating, very, very frustrating professionally as a scientist to see the answers right there and not being taken. So anyway, there we go. Yeah, not a ton in common, but yeah, you could make the connection. Thanks very much. This has been Ask Dr. Ben.